Welcome everyone to today's video. Our checklist for today is going to be we're going to be talking about aspects. Uh, that's one, and then two, we're going to be talking about malefic planets, and then three, we're going to be looking at the general significant factors, their radical places, and their progressed progressions, or what uh, sometimes referred to as directional places. And then fourthly, we're going to look at the opposites and the square positions of those directional places of those general significant factors. So this will just be the first part of our transit video. The second part is going to come after this, and where we're going to go into making or finding the transits, and then looking at the influences that is going to, or the directions of the market on that particular day. Yeah. So the first thing is we're going to look at, as we say, these aspects. So uh, aspects. First of all, planets, quite right. There are bad planets and good planets. Uh, Others have got more influence for good, and others have got more influence for bad, as you might have read somewhere. However, what it comes down to is aspects. If two planets are aspected, right, by a good aspect, let's say it's even Saturn, which is a very bad planet. Saturn and Saturn is aspected by another planet, yeah, aspected by another planet. Let's say even Jupiter, right? And they have a, a good aspect, let's say 60 degrees, right? Separation. Uh, Quite right, Saturn is supposed to cause more bearish moves in the market, and Jupiter is supposed to cause more bullish moves in the market, or buys, if of that sense. However, the final determinant of what is going to, in fact, the one and only determinant of what's going to happen in the markets is the angle or the aspect. So the aspect being 60, it means that the market is going to move up. However, if the aspect or the angle was 90 degrees, it's a sure drop. It's a sure drop. Of course, the magnitude of that drop and all that stuff depends on the planets and their positions in their zodiac. But however, the only thing that you need to know is if the aspect is bad, the market will drop. If the aspect is good, the market will push up. So the good aspects that we need to know are 30 degrees, 60 degrees, and 120 degrees. These are the only three. These are the only three good planets aspects that we have. Yeah. The bad aspect, however, it's the 0 degree angle, or sometimes we'll just say 360 degrees aspect, but zero is okay. So 0 degrees, which simply means a conjunction. So 360 or 0 degrees uh, aspect is bad. A 45 is bad. A 90 degrees is bad. A 135 degrees is bad, and a 180 degrees is bad. These are the sure most baddest versus aspect there is. So whenever two planets are aspected by these 5 degrees or aspects, surely that the market's going to be bearish, or it's going to be down, or there are going to be more sales in the versus in the market. However, I wanted to highlight this last aspect, the aspect of 150 degrees. I'll say that this 150 degrees aspect is bad. It's bad, yes. It's bad. However, I'm yet to find out or to figure out when it's not bad. Because at times where I've traded it and instead of market pushing down, it has actually, instead of market pushing up, when I thought it was probably good, the market pushed down. When I was pushing it, when I was trading it with the sales, it was pushing up. So there were times when it was being bad, and the times when it was being good. So I'm yet to finalize on what conditions does it, on what condition is it good. But the surest as side, it's bad. It's a bad aspect. But there should be conditions when it's good. This is the only one I would really point out, that the times when it's good. However, what you need to remember is that it's bad, and it's mostly bad. So the clarity on the 150 degrees um, aspect, I think in later videos I might be able to clarify. However, for the time being, I'll leave it at that it's mostly bad, and yeah, with a question mark, that is, it's mostly bad. It's mostly bad. So, having talked about the aspects, the planets, the influence of the planets, whether they're good or bad, it doesn't really matter. What it comes down to is the aspect. If the aspect, or the interaction, in fact, the aspect is what we refer to as interaction. So when the two planets are aspected by a certain angle, that is an interaction that two aspects are having. So if the interaction, or let's say if the interaction is bad, it's surely that bad will come out of them, the interaction, right? If their interaction is good, it's sure that what is going to come out of there is going to be good. Yeah, it's like what they say: bad company corrupts good morals. So even if there are two good planets, right? If their interaction is bad, or their union, their interaction is bad, their union, ultimately bad is going to come out of it. Even if you're talking about Jupiter with Venus, two good, very good planets, but having an aspect of a 90 degrees or 180 degrees or 0 degrees conjunction, it's surely going to be bad that is going to come out of it. So in short, the markets will be uh, more of sales here, sales, or bearish moves, right, on bad aspects. On good aspects, we were talking about buys and bullish moves, right, or pushing ups. Yeah. So please remember, that what it comes down to is the interaction between two planets. It's not about whether the planet is good or the planet is bad that causes the markets to push up or down. If the interaction between two planets is bad, though the two planets that are interacting in a bad way are good planets, the markets will surely sell. Even if there are two bad planets like Mars and Saturn, the baddest of them all, provided that interaction is good, let's say 120 degrees, they will still push the markets up. What will come out of it is bullish moves or buys, right? So just remember that it comes down to the angles. If the angles or the aspects are bad, the markets will push down. If the aspects are good, the markets will push up or will be bullish, right? So now the other thing I need to emphasize is that they are on checklist 2. There are planets that are referred to as malefic planets, right? So malefic planets are literally bad planets, if I was in that sense, right? So there are only two baddest of them, or the ones that are referred to as malefic planets, right? There are only two. So it's Mars and Saturn. So whenever in future videos we're referring to malefic planets, always remember we're talking about Mars and Saturn. Mars, and Saturn, right? So that's one highlight I need to make. And then checklist 3, right? We'll come back to the fact that there are 3, I would say, points, right? General sign factors. I'd say there are three things that we need to consider always. That the general sign factors is the MC, which again I've said is house 10, and then the uh, ascendant, which is house 1. So the general sign factors is referred to as is simply the MC or the midheaven, which is house 10, and the ascendant, which is house 1, and then we also have the sun and the moon. So these 3 or these 4 are what we need to take particular attention if we're going to move on to transits, right? So transits are literally going to be based on their position, the positions of these 4: house 10, house 1, the sun, and the moon, right? So both they are radical places. That's one. We need to know the radical places, and 2, they are progressed or directional places, right? So let's get right into it. So uh, we're going to move on to check. We're going to be on checklist 3 for now. So we're going to go to astrolog, pull up astrolog. I'm sure by now that you are comfortable with astrolog and are able to use astrolog properly. So as you can see, it's astrolog version 7.3. The current moment is Tuesday, October 11th, 2022 at 4:15. That is New York City. Yeah. So what I forgot to emphasize in the video now, while we're looking at how to set up astrolog and how to use it, is the fact that every time we open astrolog, right? Every time we open astrolog, and we need to use it, we can always go back to the default settings on info, and then default settings, and then simply just click on location and then click look up, right? So we'll go to New York City and simply apply, right? So even if we're going to chat info, right, we can do the same. Go on location, city, apply, right, and then click OK. We should have noticed that some things had changed. So it's always good to re-enter your location and everything, so that there's no you don't get errors, because if you haven't done this and refreshed your settings, it might not adjust based on the timing, and it might not give you the correct output. However, having said that, let's move on to what we're supposed to do today, which is simply going back again to drawing up the radix chart for gold market, and getting the radical places or the natal positions of those 4 parts, which is house 10, house 1, the sun, and the moon. We need to get those positions, and then we'll move on to their directional places or progress positions. So we'll go to chart info, set up chart info, right? So here we're going to go to give the details of the radical the radix of what we're going to draw up the radix of gold market, which was in December. As remember, that was a month. The day was 31st, the last day of the year. The year was 1974. Yeah, and noon, right? Noon. So in the year as you can see here, the daylight savings is put at yes, right? So we should see that change based on the time. So it might change or not. However, what you need to do again is, even though the location is now default, which is New York City, you can just go to New York City there, then look up, click on New York City, and then apply, right? If you have noticed that the daylight savings has changed, let me say yes, right? I need you to remember that if I was to say yes, okay, let me leave it on yes, right? Then say okay, right? Remember that it's on yes. So you will notice that the position of the sun, of the moon, right, and the sun are intact. So let me mark those positions. So I'll start with the sun, the moon, and then ascendant, and then MC or midheaven, right? So I'll put the degree here, and then I'll put the house here. So we are on 9 degrees, 1 cup, and what's the other part? So the sun is at 9 degrees cup, 35, right? So we'll put 35 here, minutes. So this will be minutes, this will be house, and this will be degrees. So 9 degrees. So let me mark again this, highlight this, so that we, and then this as well. So having done that, we are going to get the other details for the moon. The moon was in Leo, 14 degrees, 13 minutes. Okay, so okay, okay. So 14 degrees Leo at 13, yeah? 13 minutes. So now take note of the position of the MC and the ascendant, right? So we notice that the ascendant is at Pisces, right? Pisces, 22 degrees and 32 minutes. House 10 is at Sagittarius, right? 26 degrees, 3 minutes. Now, remember that our setting was the setting was on yes, right? On the daylight savings, it was yes. Remember? So the inaccuracies is in the fact that the houses are not set correctly. Now, due to this same setting of putting it on yes, you find that the first house is going to be different from what it's supposed to be, right? Including the 10th house. In short, the whole houses will be differently configured, right? So that's the reason why I said when you open Astro, make sure that the location is reclicked, so that automatically once you do that, it will know what, based on the timing, on the time that you have put here, what to do on the daylight savings. So that once it's a no, you will notice that now the houses have been set correctly. So the actual uh, place or position of the first house was supposed to be Iris, right? So uh, Sorry for that. So the first house is supposed to be in Aries, 8 degrees, 18 degrees. So it's 18 degrees Aries, and then 25 minutes. So 25. Okay, yeah, this will be better. So 25 minutes. So we'll notice that house 10 now is at Cap, 9 degrees, Cap, 52 minutes. Now, these are the correct settings or correct readings that we needed to take. So remember that that every time you are entering information, especially radical information, radix information, make sure that you always go back to the location. Click on the location, look it up, click on it, and then apply. Then it will make sure that the daylight savings are automatically properly set, whether to a yes or to a no, so that your readings should be correct. Always remember this. Then you can click OK. Now that we have gotten the readings for the radix readings for these um, places, let me put okay, here. Let me say so. Okay, let me merge this and the radix. So I'll say radix positions or places. Okay, let's say radix places. Radix places, yes. So having noted this, just next to it, starting from here, I'll put the okay. So just here, I'll put the progressed position. So I'll say, let me use the word directional. Directional places. So I'll put degrees here, degrees, house, okay. So degrees, we say house here, and then we have got minutes. So what we're going to do is that we're going to go back to the chart and simply say, since we've already set the radix position chart correctly, which is what we're having right now. So I'll go to chart set chart info 2, right? So there I'm going to only change one variable, which is the year from the radix details. So we're going to put December, yes, 31st. Again, we'll leave the 2022 this year, current year, we'll put it at noon. Remember that the daylight settings are yes, but what we just need to do is just go to location there. The default is already there, so highlight it and then look it up, click on it, and then apply, right? To change everything. Once we do this, we just simply click OK, right? So the radix info has been put and the directional info has been put. Once we do that, we just need to go to chart info and then press on progressed and natal. Progressed and natal. Once we do that, we should be able to see the green line that's showing that the radix planets positions are inside in here, and the outer ones are the progressed positions of these planets and planets, yes. So having done that, what I said was these houses here are literally, or these houses are the houses, the position of the houses in the radix. So now it simply means that these planets are literally their progressed positions. Progressed. So this is progressed. So these are progressed, right? So these are progressed. So these are progressed. Having noted that these are progressed, we're going to just get the position of the sun, which is in this case 28 degrees Aquarius, 24 minutes. So the moon is at 9 degrees Taurus, Taurus and 41, and then the ascendant, which is just down here after the north node, it's at 20 degrees Gemini, 46 minutes, and the last one is the 26 degrees Aquarius at 10 degrees for the ascendant, oh, for the midheaven, which is the 10th house. So now these are the correct details that we need to put to mark. So let me just highlight, enlarging them again. So this is large enough. So let's go over them again. So we have got the sun, the moon, the ascendant, and the midheaven, which is the MC. So the MC, as I said, this is for the MC. I said this is house 10, right? For the MC. For the ascendant, I said this is house 1. So always remember that the ascendant is house 1 and the MC is house 10. So the radix positions are these. The directional places are these, right? So we expect that, okay. So having done that, let's go back to our checklist. So I've already done that. So these are general signifactors, the house 10, house 1, the sun and the moon positions, both for radix and progressed positions, we've already marked them. And we've also noted the fact that we have to pay particular attention to the settings, and we have to always make sure to we enter the location, so that once we have set it, we have set the time and everything else. Once we enter the location, when trying to draw up the what's the chart, we'll get the correct readings, right? Once we do that, we can get the radix positions, the radical positions, or the natal positions, and then the progressed positions as well. Once we do that, we can always now go to the last part before we end this video, yeah, which is checklist 4. So if you have been reading through Arcana or Stock and Share Key by Sifario, you should note that there's a part on axiom axiom 2, which says which reads actually directions of the general signifier, the sun, the moon, the ascendant, and the MC, to afflictions, either being squares, a square, or an opposition of malefic planets, will cause great depression of securities. So the directional places, right, of the directional places of these are generally significant factors. They are directional places, these directional places. Let me highlight the directional places. So the opposites and the squares to these four positions, right? Having seen the transits of these two, if these two are on the opposite and square positions to these positions, they will still cause great depressions. However, just them being seated there doesn't necessarily mean that the markets will have to be down because of the planets being bad. However, what we said is that their aspects are going to be the ones that are going to determine they're going to be the market's going to buy or not. All we have to know to make sure that and to take note of is the directional, is the opposite, and the squares to these positions. So that will be the last part that we're going to deal with right now before we end this video. So so let me so we're going to look at the opposite and square positions of these places. So here's a little trick. Here is a little trick. So I'll zoom out a bit. So I'll make sure that, okay, let me count these. So there are one. So by the corner here, we should be seeing 6R times 1. See? So here. So from 9 to 14. So I'll start with 14th position and start with the first house, which is Iris. So I'll put Iris and then push up. So it is 9 years. Okay, so here, that's when I'll start with, I'll continue with the count. So Taurus. After Taurus, we have Gemini. That's the third house. So Gemini. And then we move to Cancer. From Cancer, we have Leo. We've got Virgo. Then over Libra, the 7th house. So for us to know which position is opposite or square to each house, we're going to we started with, again, as I said, we'll start with Iris, first house. We'll have 6 boxes here and 6 boxes this side. So the first thing is that we start with the first house, put it here on the last position down, and then we'll start counting the houses from according to the houses, their position. So from Iris, we're going to go to the second house, and then the 7th house should fall where Iris is, right? And then we'll continue the count. From Iris, we're going to go to the 8th house, which is Scorpio, and then we're going to go to Sagittarius. Sagittarius, there's Capricorn. After Capricorn, I've got Aquarius rather. After Aquarius, we've got the last house, which is Pisces. So you will notice that these houses, according to this arrangement, already are opposite. So I'll illustrate this by saying this. Let me put an arrow. So yeah, this type of arrow. Yeah. So all these houses Aries is opposite Libra, Pisces is opposite Virgo, Aquarius is opposite Leo, Capricorn is opposite Cancer, Sagittarius is opposite Gemini, Scorpio is opposite Taurus. So I'll start with this, right? So the first thing that we needed to do was put Aries here on the 60th position in the first column, and then in the second column we continue with the count from Aries, which is Taurus, the second house, the third Gemini and Cancer, the fourth Leo, fifth Virgo, sixth, and then Libra, seventh. Then we start with we continue with the count on the first column. So I've got the first column, and then we've got the second column, right? So first column we on the 60th position. So we have this is 1, 2. In fact, let me do this. Let me put the countings here. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So we've got 6 positions. So the first column and the second column. So we'll start with the 60th position of the first column, put the first house. Then go to the second column and continue the count based on the arrangement of the houses. So I've got Taurus, the second house, third Gemini, Cancer, third, fourth. Then we continue. Once we reach on the 60th house, we continue the count on the first column of the house of the first column. So from Libra, we've got Cancer, which is the 80th, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, and we end the count. So this already arranges the positions of the houses according to their opposites, right? So Aries is opposite Libra, right? So just to take some census here, I'll put opposite here, opposite, and then I'll put square. But let's just stick to the opposite. So what's the house that's opposite Aquarius? The house that's opposite Aquarius is Leo. So here we're looking at Leo, right? Leo, right? So the position of the sun, the position of the direction of sun, Aquarius 28 degrees 24 minutes is Leo, right? Leo 28 degrees 24 minutes. That's the opposite position of the direction of sun, right? Taurus, the opposite position of Taurus, as we can see, opposite of Taurus is Scorpio. So Scorpio, yeah, so the opposite of the direction of moon, the opposite of direction of moon is Scorpio, 9 degrees 41 minutes, right? So Gemini, the opposite of Gemini is here. So the opposite of Gemini is Sagittarius. So we're looking at Sagittarius, right? So the opposite of the directional ascendant is Sagittarius, 20 degrees 46 minutes, right? And then Aquarius, of course, we were back again to Leo, right? So these are the opposite of these directional places of these general significant factors, right? So having noted that, let me take note of how we know which one is a square, right? So what I'll do is I'll go and insert, since I can't draw, I can only show an arrow. So what I'm going to show is this. So I'll get this arrow, right? And then I'll push it to the 4th, right? So what I'm simply saying here is these first houses will be pushed to the 4th. Remember, we can divide them into 3. So these are 3, and these last ones are 3, right? So the first one here, so I'll say 1, 2, 3, and now here I'll say 1, 2, 3. So in short, what I mean is that the 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So the 1 and 1 are the same. So in short, these two houses here are square to these houses here, right? On the 2 here, Sagittarius is square, 2 is square to 2. So Sagittarius is square to Pisces as well as to Gemini. So Sagittarius and Gemini, both of them are square to these two houses, Pisces and Virgo. And then of course 3 to 3. So Capricorn and Cancer are square to Aries and Libra as well. So having said that, Aquarius, which house is opposite or is square, sorry, to Aquarius? So Aquarius is 1, right? Aquarius is 1. Aquarius is 1. So Aquarius is opposite, is square to, yeah, that's right, to Scorpio. So we're going to put Scorpio here, right? Then we'll put Taurus here, right? So I'll put Taurus, so I'll put Taurus, where is Taurus? Okay. So again, Taurus here. So Taurus here is, let me put it this way. Let me flip it. Yes. So Taurus here is opposite, is square, sorry, to Leo. So I'll put Leo here, right? Then I'll put Gemini. Gemini. So Gemini here is square to Virgo. So I'll put Virgo there. And then of course finally Aquarius is square to, yeah, we said it, Scorpio. So Scorpio. So having said this and done this, we should always remember that the simple trick is to start with Aries here. Then count the houses according to their order from Aries. You go to the second column, Taurus, then Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra. Once you finish the count here, you continue it on the first column. So Scorpio, Sagittarius, Cancer, Aquarius, and Pisces. And also to look at these rows as 1, 2, 3, and then you should start the count again 1, 2, 3, so that the opposites, of course, the houses just opposite them, and then the squares, it's just simply the house, the rows that have the same number. So 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3. These are the squares. So having said that, I'll recap that the opposite of the directional place of the sun is Leo, 28 degrees 24 minutes, and then its square is Scorpio, 28 degrees 24 minutes. And then the opposite of the directional place of the moon is Scorpio, 9 degrees 41 minutes. Its square position to that directional place is Leo, 9 degrees 41 minutes. And then the opposite of the directional place of the ascendant, which is house 1, is Sagittarius 20 degrees 46 minutes, right? And its square is simply Virgo 20 degrees 46 minutes. And then finally, the house 10 or the MC's directional place, opposite to this directional place, is Leo 26 degrees 10 minutes. And the square to its directional place is Scorpio 26 degrees and 10 minutes. So having said that, we have completed our checklist, and please go through what we said, and don't forget that every time you're drawing up the chart, please always re-enter the location after you've already given what you've already entered the other details, the time and the dates and everything. Always re-enter the location so that your readings are correct. All right, thank you very much, and see you.